Hi everyone, my name is Robert Halverson and I am a senior in aerospace engineering and mechanics and a peer assistant in the CSE Career Center. Today we're going to be going over applicant tracking systems in the job search and how to improve your resume for the ATS. So let's jump right into the first question, which is what is an ATS? I can say before coming to the Career Center, I personally had no idea what an ATS was, so let's briefly cover some of these basics. So applicant tracking systems, or ATS, are software applications that employers use to keep record of the hiring process for each applicant they receive. They collect and sort hundreds to thousands of resumes depending on the size of the company. And most employers utilize the system to automatically filter applications based on given criteria in a resume, such as keywords, skills, maybe former employers, years of experience, etc. So employers use applicant tracking systems in order to, filter through and sift through the applications and clear out those who might be deemed unqualified, as top employers and large corporations usually receive hundreds of resumes for any given position. Many applicants usually submit a resume to many employers thinking, it's worth a try without actually having the list of requirements in the job description. So then why should we care? Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The system automatically filters and ranks the applications based on your resume and the likeness to the job description. You want to make sure a human gets through your application, so we want to try to get past the ATS. Now, the ATS creates a database for the hiring managers to access the resume and the applicant information easily. Now, just as a brief note, resumes may also be stored long after the original job posting is filled. These stored resumes may possibly be searched and sorted in a future date as a resource for the recruiters. So applications are ranked and filtered based on the likeness to the position as defined by their hiring manager or job posting. When completing an online application, be sure to be truthful in your answers to any screening questions and fully answer any supplemental questions. The most common way recruiters and the ATS filters your resume is by searching for those key skills and titles. For example, if a job description lists experience with SolidWorks as a required skill, one of their initial steps will be to search for the word SolidWorks in your resume. Sometimes if the resume does not have that exact term, the applicant may be ranked lower or completely filtered out altogether. Some recruiters may still choose to glance at every job posting, every job application that comes through their system, mostly just the highlights, maybe job titles, companies, and GPA. The average time a recruiter will look at a resume in this setting is about 10 seconds. So now that we have a good base of knowledge of what the ATS is and how it works and kind of how much the recruiter might spend looking at your resume, let's jump into some quick tips on how to navigate the system to get a full review. Tip number one is a great piece of advice for any resume review, and it's to keep the formatting simple. So you want your information to be read, and it should be able to be read by a computer or human eyes, right? So keeping headings simple is best, and being consistent throughout the resume, whether that's where you format your dates, how you format different headings, if you use bold or italics in certain places, keeping that consistent is going to make it easier to read through the entire resume. You want to avoid tables, lines, text boxes, multiple columns. Basically anything listed here can make it difficult for the ATS to read the information and sometimes impossible, so that might get lost along the way. Tip number two is to focus on the important and impactful information on your resume. Highlight the important and most relevant skills and experiences by listing the more relevant experiences towards the top of the resume. Use those buzzwords, make sure that those, all of those experiences that you want to be covered on the resume are on there and maybe in bold, right? But utilize the transferable skill buzzwords such as, communicate effectively or lead a team of to kind of demonstrate, communication abilities. And then this then leads to tip number three, which is to tailor your resume, right? So directly address the qualifications found in the job posting, right? And then add the keywords if they apply to you. Wherever it's applicable, you might want to use the exact phrasing from the job posting. And this will just help to make sure that you can kind of match the description a little bit better, right? So you want to try to make adjustments for technical skills. So if in your resume right now you have CAD on there, and maybe you have worked with a lot of different CAD programs, but the job requirement lists SolidWorks, right? Be sure to include the word SolidWorks instead of just CAD. That way the software and even the human reading it can understand that you do in fact have that experience. There is a whiteout cheat where you don't want to overload the resume with the exact job description text as a way to kind of cheat and match the position. Many systems are smart enough to know when the candidate has added white text from the job description in the background of the resume. So long story short, don't do that. Tip number 4, pretty straightforward, is to proofread, right? Check for errors, check for quality of writing. You want to make sure that you can catch any misspellings or grammar mistakes, as these are some pretty common mistakes. And it's always a good idea to if you yourself proofread and have someone else proofread and review your resume to maybe catch some of those mistakes that you might have become a little numb to. There's also a resource called Job Scan where you can check how well you match the job posting. This is where you'll upload your resume text as well as the text of the job description, and it kind of deciphers that through its own little built-in ATS to see how well you match. It's a really good tool. Don't expect to match it 100%. If you can reach anywhere between 60, 70 to 80%, that's probably a good goal to reach. Now, super briefly, just an overview of the career services and events that we have. In each fall and spring, we do have our career fairs, as well as many workshops around these times to kind of prepare your resume, prepare for these other development events. We also have the resume marathon and practice interview days. If you want a 30-minute career counseling appointment, those are 30 minutes on Zoom, and drop-in career counseling is 2 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday on Zoom. The information for both of these can be found on our website. I would also suggest going on Handshake to search through the job and internships as well as other events that might be going on. We do have many digital guides on our website. I'd recommend checking those out at the link provided here. And if you have any questions, be sure to email us at cse.umn.edu. So with that, thanks for taking just a few minutes to watch this presentation today. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at the email provided on the screen. Thanks.